Good day, dear students. I'm again with you. Today we are going to speak about the effectiveness or speech efficiency in the communication. What does the effectiveness mean or speech efficiency? Effectiveness in speech is that in order to achieve the aim of the communication, you have to use different effective language and non-linguistic means of communication. So, in order to make the message easily be sent to the listener, we have to use effectiveness in the speech. Effectiveness, especially, is produced by linguistic and non-linguistic means of communication. Further, we are going to speak about different ways how to make your speech effective. Effectiveness in verbal communication especially leads to solve the problem between you and others. It helps us to achieve the goal or purpose of communication. If you don't use effective means of language, you will not achieve the communication purpose. And that's why here you have to get acquainted with effective verbal communication factors. First of all, before beginning to create a communicative atmosphere, you have to think very carefully what you are going to speak about. Analyze your thoughts, what you are going to say. Think very carefully before beginning communication. It will lead to success and to achieve your aim. Speak with a confidence. It means if you make believe yourself, you can make believe others. You should be sure of yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't hesitate. You should show your sureness. You should be confident in your speech. If you are confident, if you believe in you, others believe in you. Next one, be clear and concise. It means when you speak, your speech should be very clear. Everybody should understand. And that's why, while making the sentence, be sure that everybody will understand you. Use simple words, not complicated. Don't use a lot of terminology. Not many people understand them. Be aware of your non-verbal communication, which we are going to speak further in details. While using your gestures, your paralinguistic means you have to be very careful in order to achieve the purpose of communication. Be a good listener. We spoke it before and we speak it further. You should be a very good listener in order to achieve a success in communication. Try to give attention to the words, to each word of your listener, of communicant. About the listener, we are going to speak further. How to be a good listener, what kind of skills are required. We'll speak in the next slide. Look at the picture. How to be a good listener. In order to be a good listener, you have an eye to be an eye on the speaker. Mouth is quiet. Hands are still. Feet are still. Ears listen carefully and brain is thinking about what is being told. Concentrate your mind to the words of listener. In order to be a good listener, your eyes should be watching, ears should be listening, lips should be closed, hands and feet are quiet. These are the main features, the main truths of being a good listener. And I do hope all of you are good listeners. And then the next step is you should give attention to the audience whom you are speaking to. Are you speaking to a little child? Or are you speaking to a teacher? Are you speaking to a friend? That's the question. And according to this criteria, you have to choose your own words. Think about the perspective of your audience. So think about whether they understand your language or not. If they are young auditory, you should use very simple sentence. If they are adults or professors, you should use more complicated words and you may use terminology. According to the ability of the listener, you have to choose the words, you have to choose the phrase, you have to choose the linguistic means. Now let's speak about the local vocal tone. So what is vocal tone? Sometimes people speak in one tone, in monotonous tone, which makes other people be bored. When somebody speaks monotonous, you are bored. Am I right? And that's why, in order to achieve your goal, to achieve a good communication result, you have to vary your voice tone, vocal tone. You should rise it up. Sometimes you should slow it or increase it down. So oral communication is good for saving time, and especially verbal communication is economical. The tone is easy to capture, and that's why while using your tone, you make your speech easy to capture. That's why give attention to your tone. Sometimes rise and sometimes fall it down. It will help to attract others' attention. So don't forget, when we speak about effectiveness, you can use effectiveness of speech in all language levels. For example, it can be phonetic. Even with one phonetics or with one letter, you can attract others' attention. Even with one word or sentence or phraseological unit, you can attract their attention. Effectiveness, it means attracting attention, and you can attract their attention in all language levels. It can be a word, a sentence, a text, and so on. The next factor is paralinguistic features of communication. How to attract, how to make your speech just efficient. So paralinguistic means play a great role. I have just told you about efficiency. Efficiency, that means effectiveness of speech, that means attracting others' attention and achieve your aim. So here, paralinguistic means play great role. As you remember, we spoke it before. They are the facial expressions, gestures, body language, vocal effect, just laughs, and so on. So as you can see on the screen, even the silence can be paralinguistic means, or pronunciation, articulation, and others. All everything that's relates to the non-linguistic means are called paralinguistic means. And don't forget, paralinguistic means can vary according to the continents. For example, European and USA countries, especially, they use emotive paralinguistic means. They use gestures freely, while Eastern countries use very simple and controlled paralinguistic means. They control their non-verbal communication, and these two types of non-verbal communication differ. And while speaking to two types of people, whether he is an Eastern person or just Western person, according to this, you can use your gestures. So now Peter Matthew said that the paralinguistic means sometimes should be used in norm. You shouldn't exaggerate them. While exaggerating, you may cause some kind of negative consequences, and that's why it depends what kind of type of communication you are acting at. So when we speak about the body language, we should be aware also of cultural differences. We have just talked about that body language differs in different continents. So cultural differences also are very important while just building communication. Cultural differences can be in punctuality, greetings, non-verbal communication signals, good manners, decision making, and all of them differ according to the culture. If we speak about Uzbek, Russian, and English people, all of them have got their own culture and they differ from each other. It may just differ from eye contact. For example, eye contact differs in Western countries, in the Arabic countries, in the Japanese, Africa, Latin America. After the lecture, you can look through the PPT thoroughly and read the difference between the eye contact and touch and according between the countries written on the screen. And just Japanese, African, and Latin America, they avoid eye contact, but in Western countries, they prefer eye contact. And looking at the screen, you can see Some people are surprising. Why they didn't shake? Why they didn't shake their hands? Some people bow while greeting, and some kind of questions appear if you don't know the cultural differences. And that's why, while making communication with whom you are talking to, you should also be aware of their cultural differences, and you have to behave according to their behavior if you want to achieve your goal. You can see on the screen, international arrivals, all of them are just surprising looking at their paralinguistic means. So eye contact is very important in achieving just good success. You should look at your speaker's eyes, but according to the continent, they may differ. I have spoken it before, and you can look through them from the PPT after my lecture. Facial expressions are very important. With your own only eye blink, you can affect the listener, and that's why facial expressions are very important, like a smile, very polite looking, just your eye contact, the facial expression should express some kind of politeness expression. If you are sad, if you show some kind of negative facial expressions, it will result some negatively during communication. Gestures, you should be very careful with the gestures. If this person is from abroad, if you cannot understand what he says just with his hands, you should look through from net or from internet what does the gesture mean. And if you are shy of asking what does it mean, I've just told you about eye contact. Eye contact is very important during communication. Listening. Be a good listener. We spoke it before, and now we are going to repeat and revise them again. Be a good listener. Listen. Concentrate what your partner is speaking to. Show your emotions to his speech. Repeat and sometimes his phrases time by time as to show the respect to his speech. This is very important. The act of listening needs the highest development in listening for ourselves. And here, in order to be very good listener, you should just train yourself. And why listening task works? Why listening task takes work? What do you think? Is it hard work? Some scientists say it is hard work. It is difficult for listener than the speaker, because speaker already knows what you want to say, but listener doesn't know. He should work very hard in order to capture the information. He works hard in his mind, and that's why it is difficult for him. Most people don't listen with intent to understand. They listen to intent to reply, says Stephen Covey. What does it mean? All people want to answer the back to the listener, but they don't want to understand. But here they advise us to listen to understand. Look at the numbers on the screen. Every person can speak a minute 450 words, while others can listen. You can understand or listen approximately 450 words per minute, while the speakers can speak approximately 175 up less speak. And that's why in order to capture this amount of words, you need time. You should work hard, and that's why they say listening is harder than speaking. Okay, in order to develop your skill, you should listen to yourself as you prepare in your mind what you are going to say, the questions you are going to ask. And while preparing the listening, you should take a minute and concentrate concentrate to the voice or speech. And have to practice in order to sharpen your listening skills. Here are some exercises. One lecturer while students didn't listen to him, couldn't concentrate, couldn't speak. And the next time during the lecture, everybody listened to him, and the teacher could concentrate. And that's why, if you look at him, the speaker will speak better. And some exercise might be difficult for you for the first time, but you do it more and more, and easily you will get them. And how to develop our listening skills. So here you have to practice mindfulness. It means you should be able to sit comfortably for 20 minutes without hearing the sound of your own voice, without having conversation with yourself, without waiting for the exercise to end, without effort, without labeling all the sounds individually. You have to listen, you have to sit and concentrate your mind without just giving attention to the other happenings outside you. So treat like a test. To practice the comprehending what you hear, act like there is going to be a test on what you understood. Try to do the action again. Try to do the task again. The next thing that I'm going to speak about the mind's gap. It means, so it is a gap between how fast we think and how fast people talk, and that's why you should give attention to make a gap as you are listening, and while you are listening you review, summarize the speaker's point of view, clarify, paraphrase, and understand. Just listen to the speaker and clarify and understand what he says, and then we can answer back. Now I would like to remind you about the phrase said by Robin Sharma. He says, "Today, just for a day, make a decision to listen masterfully. Don't interrupt. Don't speak while the person is speaking, and don't dare check your email or search for the text message while another human being is sharing their words. Just listen, just hear, just be there for that person." So that was all for today, and I do hope you got some useful information concerning to communication skills. Thank you very much for your attention. If any questions, you can ask me at any time. Thank you.